Okay, let's see some various methods for allowing an avatar to walk. If you have access, and you should have access to some of the old G3 avatars, G5. Here are some avatars from iClone 6, and then some new avatar from Character Creator 2. Let's go ahead and create a path. And if you'll remember, I'm going to use my Alt key to rotate around. And let's just create a path here, a real simple path. I'm going to hold the Alt key so I can move. Thankfully they fixed that a few versions ago. Hit escape and that will complete the path. Hold down the Alt key there to move around once again, and let's go ahead and just create a couple more paths. Real simple paths. And escape to complete it. And let's create one more path. And escape to. So there we go. 3 different little paths to work with. Okay, now typically your old avatars had the availability to use a persona, and when the persona was present you had the option to typically move or run, and this obviously has the old persona, so we can move forward by simply clicking anywhere and it would pretty much walk in a straight line. And do that. Let's delete that. But if you have a path present and you click on the path, it will go typically to the nearest node and start walking that path, and then when the path is done, roughly complete. A little sloppy there, but that can be cleaned up. Now obviously you can have him do some things here, and then you could have him move to another path. Do that. Sharp turn there, and you could have him move. Now let's see what's going to happen here. Okay, he's going to move right through that old path. That's good. Pick up that node and walk that path. So that's pretty cool. That's an old G3 with the persona. And let's delete. Now here's a G5, and let's see what Gwen will do. Once again, the ability to walk forward, and we can once again click anywhere on our screen and she will walk forward. She ignored the path since I didn't click on the path. And I can then say move back here, and she will do a nice turn and walk back. That's good. And the same should happen then. Let's go back to the beginning. Now let's remove that animation, and once again, if we walk forward and click on a path, she will walk to that path and then walk that path, and probably want to smooth out that node point there. Makes kind of a hard turn, and you're good there. Now once again, you could add a little bit of animation to that. When she comes to a halt, you could pick a motion puppet animation and go to that, or pick a talk, go to the talk, and let's see what happens down here. Let's look at that in the timeline, and we'll see that we have a walk motion here. We have moved a little abruptly, so once again you can ease that in a little bit. Now it's a little smoother, and it holds there, and then kind of jumps a little quick there, so once again we can ease in there. Okay, now the newer characters, we've got some IC6, and we've got the new CC Content Character Creator 2 are available. Now these characters do have personas available, and Notice they have some perform commands, but they also have move commands too, so they should act pretty much the same way as the old G5 and G3s. Just so you know, I have a problem with Mason here. Anytime I try to do a move with him, the computer crashes. So probably just my system, I don't know. But Heidi does seem to work, and I can once again walk her forward or choose a path, and she'll walk on the path like so. Now ideally you need to let the walk continue on to complete its animation. Now she does a really funky thing there at the end, which is pretty bad, so you might want to fix that, and it can be somewhat corrected if you open up your timeline and look at that particular motion track. She walks there. I'm going to stop her a little early. Really slides a lot there, so I'm going to hold it right there. I'm just going to do a little down and dirty break that particular sequence of animation and delete it, and obviously going to come to an abrupt halt there. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick motion puppet for that particular character. Let's make sure she is selected. Modifier, go up here, go to motion puppet, and let's just do an idle right here, and record that like so. Record as much as you need, and then stop it. And we need to turn that off for things to work correctly. Now we're going to do an abrupt stop here. Okay, like so. Once again, a little ease into that. A little better. Certainly, I think a little better than what it was doing. I think it adds a little too much, as you can see there, and you might put a little gap there. There we go, not too bad. And once again, she can perform a puppet command there, and then at the end of that sequence we could say move on and move forward. Either select a path and then turn and walk on the path. Here we go. Okay, and once again does this hideous thing. So each time it comes to an end of the path, the old IC6 characters might need a little adjustment to get that a little better. So that's one quick down and dirty way to fix that issue at the end of a walk. And let's go ahead and delete that. Okay, now looking at the newer avatars, the character creator avatars, they don't necessarily come with personas. They can do these type of persona movements, and they're very nice, but as far as doing a move, they don't have one. Now Rampa graciously created a fantastic persona that seems to work. I haven't used it a lot, but it does seem to work. In here we click on persona under your animation tab, and if you can find this online, it's Walkie McWalk Place or whatever, I can't remember the name, Walkie Walk Face. It can be added to those characters, and you now have a basic walk, cool walk. So you have some wonderful options for the persona for use with your content, your character creator 2 avatars, which is great. Normally though, they don't come with that, and you typically would need to maybe animate the walk in a different way. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's pretend we don't have a persona. Now if you'll notice, of course, these old avatars tend to lose their clothes when you're not running the simulation, and when you start running the simulation, then the clothes catch up and they don't always look great. So I've found that usually removing the animation and running the simulation 2 or 3 times sometimes will take care of that. So that little bit of annoyance can be taken care of pretty easily just by running the program, running the simulation, and then hitting remove animation. object animation, and it usually clears up a few times after that. So what we want to do is make this avatar, and we moved her again there. So what we want to do is move this avatar on this path. So let's go ahead and select the avatar, and let's pick a path. And there we go. And once again, let's set that clothing, remove animation, go back to the beginning. Okay, looking pretty good. Alright, now what we're going to do is create a walk cycle, and let's go ahead and use good old, let's make sure we got her selected there. I'm going to modify her and use the motion puppet, and walk will be fine. We can just, of course, you're going to walk in place. You can fine-tune the walk, of course, and try that. Okay, that looks pretty good. So we're just going to let this run. Before we walk, though, you might want them to sit here and talk for a minute. So do a okay, let's just do that. Let's just have her sit and talk, stand in place, talk, blah, blah, blah. So you could have a lot of animation taking place while we're parented here. And then once you're done with that, then you can go back over and do your walk. So let's do our move to a basic walk. And once again, let's there we go. Okay. And let's now add a little bit more animation here by recording this walk. Now we're just going to walk in place, obviously, and it's better to have too much than too little, so just let the motion puppet do its thing. She's going to walk in place. We want to make sure we get enough animation to make a complete loop around this particular path and stop at the end. So we're just going to let it run till I think we've got plenty, and probably do about now. So let's go ahead and stop that, close out of that, and let's open up and see what we've got here. We have, in fact, we do have the animation where she talks and then starts the walk. Okay, very good, and that's fine. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at our constraints here, and let's bring up the constraint. Okay, there we are. I had it up, and it looks like probably need to pick that path once again because there's nothing here. So let's go ahead and go back to the beginning. Let's select her, path, pick path, and there we go. Now possibly she lost her path when I did that little animation, I don't know, but make sure you've got a path. So here we are. Now we want her to start walking, so I'm going to duplicate this frame right here. I'm going to hold down on it, hold the control key, and drag another duplicate point right there, and then let's go to the end of our animation, and let's tell her to go to the end of the path right there. So let's see what happens. Okay, walking around the path. Now obviously walking in a very strange way. It's going to take her a long time, and notice she's not following the path. So let's go back to her, make sure she is selected in our scene, Natalie. Going to modify her, go over here to this particular tab, go down to path, and let's select path. Here we go. Follow path. Notice she flips around at a wrong angle, so we're going to select -Y. And now, let's see. Okay. Once again, moving rather slow, we're going to adjust the speed by adjusting this path point here. And let's bring it down here, and let's just see. Let's just watch how she does. And we got a little bit of backsliding there, so we might do a little bit better. Let's go back. Here we go. Need a little less time. Okay, not too much sliding going on there. Gotta watch those feet. Okay. Just tune this end point on your path to get the best possible foot movement. By tweaking this particular point, the end point on the path, you can minimize a lot of the sliding. So that's pretty close for our purposes. I'm going to chop off the animation. I'm going to do a break right along here, and the feet are kind of close together. Now let's do a break, and let's delete that, and there we stop. Okay, now let's go over and once again do a little motion puppet movement. Go back to idle, pick an idle position, and that'll work for our purposes now. So I'm going to hit a record, and let's run the motion puppet here until we get a little bit, and there we go. Put that clip up, and notice you get weird things going on here because the motion puppet's open. You have to close it. And there we go. And once again, adjusting the ease in. And pretty close. And once again, play with that and you should be able to get it pretty close. So here we go. And let's ease the walk in a little bit there. And pretty good movement there. And a little slide there, which you might be able to tweak if you want to spend more time on it. There we go. And we can play a little bit with this by moving. We can play a little bit more with that ending position, obviously, by changing this last path position. And that looks a little better on the end. Yeah, like that. There we go. Okay. Okay, so there we go. Down and dirty method for getting an avatar to walk along the path and minimizing sliding ever so slightly, and then fixing that end walk there. Okay. All right, hope that helped.